Hello everybody, welcome back. This is DisturbingPuppet. So we're going to play some more Mordheim today and catch up with my Mercenary Warband. It's been, about a month since I did a stream or uploaded anything for this particular group. So yeah, we'll check out my guys, how they're progressing, and then we'll do a quick mission, just kind of see how it's going. I am still kind of recovering from the loss of my leader, who was really good and fully leveled up. So I've had to kind of work on leveling up another guy to replace him. So it looks like everything is working. That doesn't always mean it's working, but hopefully everything's working. So let's just go from here. You can see percentages are generally pretty good. Out of action ratio about 8-to-1. So still been doing pretty well, but it's definitely been kind of a struggle. And spending all of my money just upgrading guys back to kind of where they should have been, having lost a bunch of my higher level guys at one point. So we're playing the Mercenary Warband. So we're kind of already set up here. You can see I'm doing quite a bit of training. This icon here means training and how many days. So I've got quite a few guys training. Pretty much as soon as I get any gold in, I'm spending it immediately. So what we've got is my replacement leader, who I can't remember, level 4 or 5 when I picked him up, now up to level 8. So we have kind of some unusual stuff on him. Stats and things got general increases. The skills, so I've got him set up with Web of Steel so he can parry 3 times, which is what I had with my previous guy. But instead of some sort of shield specializations and things like that, what I've got so far with him, his passive skill that he starts with lets him do counterattacks from parries for free. We've got Hardy at level 1, so an extra 20 health. Force of Will, so increased stun resistance. Partially, my previous leader died from being stunned and then just hammered for a couple hundred points of damage in one turn, just from him getting critted once. So I kind of went with this instead for my replacement leader. I went with Serenity also just to kind of try it out. So if I pass an all-alone fear or terror test, my melee resistance goes up, and that decreases the chance of me getting hit. I just kind of thought I would play around with that a little bit because he's my leader and have the highest leadership. I've also got a helmet on him that increases his chance to pass all those tests. And then I've got Flash Parry leveled up, so extra 20% to his parry chance. Just want to check something really quick. Okay, looks like everything is working. All right. So the next guy I have still this same rifleman that I've had for a while. I think he's actually my oldest character that I've had. Nothing really has changed with him too much. I have Sidestep. I've totally used up all of his skill points, so he can dodge a couple times with Sidestep, using Sniper Shot mostly with him with the rifle. Gustav is still here, hasn't lost any more limbs or eyes or anything. He lost an eye at one point. So he's got a mace, pretty much standard kinds of things. I can only do basic level stuff with these kind of characters. I should probably go through the guys I have selected for this mission. I think this is just cycling through all of my guys. But he's still alive and kicking, not doing too bad. No real major injuries or anything yet since. So we have Eberhard here, is now level 10. Mostly kind of using him to fight. I do have a couple skill points left with him, but I'm not sure what I'm going to take. So we've got extra health, shield specialist, increased parrying chance, parrying 3 times, and insult at a basic level. My other guy is training and is now also level 10, but I haven't spent nearly as much time or gold on leveling him up. We've got Kurt, level 10, my Youngblood. The other one that I had is now level 8. He's training, or about to be training. I'm kind of leaving him out this turn because I don't want to risk the chance of him getting injured because I want to give him some skills. Kurt's mostly spent with his skills. I've kind of re-specialized these guys mostly on ranged weapons. What I've done is picked up quick reload, so it basically can reload for free a bit, some extra health. Some of the stuff like the knowledge tactics doesn't really help me that much, but stuff I picked really early on. My ogre will be taken out this time because I do have my mage training, and I've got my other champion training and this guy I'd like to train, so we're going to bring him out because he takes up 2 spaces. It's either him or 2 other regular guys. Pretty much the same stuff with him, nothing real major. I'm taking out Harold this time instead of my Rifleman, who's also now level 10, and I've spent all my skill points with him. So we've got some stuff just to help him with some shots, being able to dodge a couple times, and just because I thought, why not? In case it happens, if somebody ends up with a mental condition, I can do something about it. I didn't really have anything else to spend the points on. Warriors, Leopold also is hanging out here still, nothing real major. Him and Gustav are kind of my main level 10 fighters, so I've got him and Gustav coming out. Ulrich, my level 10 guy, I leveled him up from kind of a lower level, and he's kind of specialized with a halberd. The halberd gives him an increased charge range, so I have him set up for doing damage and ambushing. And then Otmar back here, I'm still working on leveling him up. He's up to level 7 now. Often he gets beat up a lot, but doesn't actually have that many injuries. It's been kind of amazing. He's recovered from almost everything. Same thing with my magic user. He almost always gets taken out in missions, and so far has recovered pretty well. Actually, well, I guess he has lost a couple points of toughness, so his health is often quite low. But still working on him. I'd like to level up some of his spells a bit more to get more use out of him. He's all kind of short range at this point. But that's kind of where we're at. So actually I've been fairly successful in getting my replacement leader back up. Even my backup, who I got at level 2, is now level 4. So kind of using him when I'm training my main leader. So we're pretty much recovering. What I'm kind of been doing is trying to focus on the story missions, and I kind of think what I'm going to do is just play through the story missions with these guys for the mercenaries, and then I'll probably be done with them, because there really isn't any other end to this game ever. It does take a while for those missions to come back, and I did do one a few days ago. The way this works is each turn is a day, so I don't think one's going to come up until maybe the next turn. So for people who don't know, this is sort of a game kind of like Necromunda, but a fantasy setting. I never got the board game version of this. I did have Necromunda, which we played a little bit, and I had terrible luck at. So in Mordheim, maybe a little better than I did in Necromunda anyway. So going fairly okay so far. What you're basically doing is going into a destroyed city that was hit by a comet made up of pure wordstone, which is sort of physical chaotic essence. And mostly what you're doing is collecting it, and you have a sponsor who is sending you in and demands certain amounts of money or certain amounts of wordstone, which he'll then pay you gold for. The weapons and things you find really don't get you much gold. Pretty much just selling off the wordstone is the only thing that gets you any gold. So up here you can see the amount of wordstone I have. These are shards, which are worth 5 each. These are clusters, which are worth 15 each. So my total amount of wordstone I have is 900, and then my gold is 698. Right now I do have my sponsor, who is Baron von Leitdorfer, has requested that I send him 353 weight of wordstone. I have 11 days left to deliver. As long as it's sent out on time, there's no real penalty. So what I've kind of been doing is building up my amount, and I kind of know how much I have to send off. I know roughly how much I want to hold on to afterwards, so anything I get above what I'm aiming for, I'll just sell off and don't have to worry about until I get another request. So we've got skills, we've got weapons and equipment. I'm still missing some good helmets for guys, which would be really nice to get. I'm still missing some runes, which are basically magical items for some guys. I have purple is kind of the highest level equipment, and then purple is the highest level runes. I've got some purple equipment, but I don't actually know any purple runes yet that I can put into things. So it's sort of a simple kind of magic system. But this is the group we're going to take out for this next mission. So we're going to check out the missions here. So for that, you go to the map. Usually there's 3 to start with, unless you have a story mission as well. So there are different levels of difficulty and different styles. So this you can see the skull, normal, so that's kind of normal difficulty. It's comparing my Mercenary Warband rating to the enemy Warband rating. So it's fairly close, normal. A little worse than that is hard, I think then brutal, and then deadly, I think is the way it goes. You never actually have an advantage when you're picking, though. It's never going to be like easy. At least I've never seen it like that. So that kind of gives you a description. There's a wordstone icon, very poor, and then a chest icon, very poor. So that's chance of wordstone, chance of good items. One warband is caught exploring buildings while the other deploys tightly around its wagon. You don't know which one you're going to be also when you pick a mission, so you just kind of go in sort of blind in a way. So anytime you see something where it's randomly deployed, especially if you're both randomly deployed, it's very dangerous. Worst mission I ever had was me and my opponent were randomly deployed. We ended up right on top of each other, and my opponent had about 4 guys that got to go before I did, so I pretty much got wasted almost immediately. So that's something to avoid. So this one, hard but good. Wardstone, average equipment. Warband exploring buildings, while the other divides into 3 strike teams. Maybe. Another hard, good. Wardstone, poor equipment. Each warband's into 3 groups. I actually don't like splitting up very much. The AI will definitely swarm the first people they see, so even if you're both split up into groups, it can be kind of dangerous, especially if you have guys like Magic User or some ranged guys. They're good in certain positions and at times, but if you don't have people to kind of block them from getting charged, then they're in a lot of trouble. You can also spend gold to send out scouts to find new locations. If everything is like hard or deadly or brutal, you can try to find something a little better. I don't often like to go with the hard ones if I can avoid them. I'm usually finding plenty of Wardstone even with poor. Very poor is kind of crummy. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this to be fairly quick. With a hard, it could be really hard. It kind of depends on exactly what you're facing. And some of the warbands aren't really that balanced, I think. Mercenaries are fairly balanced. Skavens seem pretty balanced. The Sisters of Sigmar have some tough things in them. Chaos is fairly balanced, but I think the undead are not very balanced at all. The witch hunters have one guy that's pretty tough, and they can cause you some trouble. So it really depends. So we'll go ahead and just do this one, launch and deploy, which means I'll get to pick where my guys go.
The city's old residential districts, you quickly discover that you aren't alone. Another warband is looting the nearby buildings. Dispersed in the ruins, the scavengers present an inviting target for your warriors as they deploy near your wagon.
So you can see the objectives: make the enemy warbound route. For optional objectives, I've got 3 people. Everyone has kind of a personal item they carry that identifies them. So sometimes this optional objective will come up as your secondary for your missions. If you can collect the items from these people, then you get some extra experience for everybody. So it's good to try to aim for that if you can. Often, it seems like the AI knows exactly who's been marked for death, and will try to avoid having them in combat. So it can be hard to get all of them, especially with 3. So here we've got the view. This is deployment. So this is kind of the standard view when you're placing guys. When you're controlling them, it's a little bit closer in than this. Then you also have the overhead map view. So here we can kind of see everything. So I'm kind of looking, so they're going to start kind of around here. So that's fairly close, actually. There isn't a decent amount of Wardstone here. I may just try to go and grab what's there. Probably by the time I get there, we'll be fighting somewhere around this position already. If I can get to those as well, that would be nice. There's nothing really else around. So with the bigger guys, like the ogres, you're often limited in where you can place them. So I'll just only have 2 options, so that's fine. Kurt's kind of a ranged guy, so he can start in front, but I'll kind of leave him maybe kind of spy or find an upper level position I can get to with better view. Might be good. But I'll move him back a little bit, because some of my guys with heavier armor and weapons and stuff are quite slow. So having them in the front is generally better. By the way, I'm definitely not an expert in this game. I've learned stuff from actually streaming and people making comments on the streams about how some stuff works. So I basically just did the tutorials and jumped in. So I may not always be giving you the best advice. Put my tougher guys in the front. Also because they're slow. My leader here is still a little bit lower level, but he's not bad at this point. I'm starting out with a crossbow, and then we'll switch to melee weapon and shield later. So at the top you can see sort of the initiative order. I almost always am never going first. Certain classes of your guys have a better chance of having higher initiative, so more likely to go first, depending on the points you put into them and where. The upper left, there's a blue bar and a red bar, which is leadership. So the blue bar is my leadership, maximum, and then there's a line with a number, and that's at the point where you have to start making leadership checks. So if you lose enough guys to drop to that point, you have to make checks. So there's my leadership on the left in blue, and their leadership on the right in red, which will affect whether or not they end up losing the combat. Just want to quickly check and make sure everything seems like it's working, and it does. Okay. It can be really hard to figure out how to get around. You're kind of in this position when you're controlling people, and there's a lot of weird multi-level structures. You can see like there's positions up on the top of that building showing where you can jump down from there, but how do you get up to there? Sometimes it can be really confusing to try to figure out some of that stuff. Luckily, what you have on the left underneath my health, which is the green bar, there are blue dots, which is movement. Also, it's used for some of your skills, and the red is for attacks. So if I move, you can see blue dots disappear. Behind me, there's sort of the blue dots on the ground that glow. A little hard to see right there. So if I don't spot an enemy or trigger a trap or anything, I can actually go back and get those points back. So you can look around a little bit, but it does kind of limit what you can see, and trying to figure out how to get to certain places can be really hard. The AI seems to know exactly how to get there usually, but sometimes does get hung up on the terrain, especially the big guys. So use that to your advantage. So I'm aiming for the wordstone that's straight down here. So I'm just going to kind of sneak around this edge. I'll see if there's anywhere I can get to higher up. Now I can see the woodstone on the ground there. Those big ones are the clusters, which are worth 15 each, so you definitely want to pick those up if I can. Just going to creep forward here a little bit. This is probably as far as I want to go for right now. The entrench skill lets me take a shot, and then if I get attacked, it gives me 1 dodge. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I don't know how close they are exactly, but I'll go with that. It's fine. Harald. There's really nothing inside here. I can get up here, it looked like, and maybe get a view this way, but there's really nothing there. Not much point. Yeah, I'm not sure about the angles here. Got an open door, we've got stairs. Actually, it'd be nice to get a little further and up there. Just barely snake in there. And put him on Overwatch here. So I have pretty good perception with my ogre, and perception lets you spot traps or hidden enemies, things like that, through walls, as long as you're fairly close. And it ends up, if you do succeed, then it's not just where you are, but where you move to. So as you're moving around, you'll spot traps and things. And then it also will decrease the damage if you do end up triggering a trap. So I'm just going to move him up. Mostly I use him to ambush with my big axe here like this. He's got increased ambush range, and the axe gives him even more increased ambush range. And then if he ends up getting hurt, I can switch to a sword and axe combo, which I can parry with, and he's better at parrying and can parry multiple times. So if I go into ambush, you can kind of see the red, and anyone who steps into that red, I will charge an attack. So it's a little bit further than normal because of his skill and axe that he's got. So I'm kind of covering the wardstone there in case they come for it. So I'm being fairly cautious here. Partially because they've got a lot of guys who are going to take actions before a lot of my guys are. And I'm a little slow with the heavy armor and stuff that I've got. Some of the groups, like the Skaven, are super fast, can move really quickly, and have high initiative, so often I barely get to move anywhere before I'm already fighting them. So it's like deployment to fight almost immediately. How close can I get? Gustav here also has increased ambush range, so we'll set him up here too. I can't quite reach the wordstone, I think. So for now, we'll just kind of hang out here. We haven't spotted anybody yet, so hopefully we're okay. We can grab that wordstone and continue on. Traveling with all your guys together in a group was kind of the main tactical hint and tip that was given when I was looking at some of the forums for this, and definitely true. The AI definitely seems to, as soon as he spots one of your guys, all of his guys converge on that position. It's very rare that you're going to have one guy over on one side of the map and another on the other, and you're looking for hidden items or looking for wordstone, and really everyone's scattered around, and maybe groups of ones or twos. Pretty much the AI just massively moves around in this big mass. Massively in a mass, moves around in a big group, and will just jump on you as soon as he sees anybody. Occasionally you can catch one or two guys out in an odd position or something, but that's not too common. Keeping him back because he's a little bit weaker level, or lower level, a little bit weaker, not as tough. Eberhardt here is mainly a good fighter, can hit a lot of times, can parry a lot of times, but he is missing a leg, so he is kind of short with his movement, and can't charge very far. So you can kind of see his charge range is pretty short. So it's actually almost useless to use it, so I often don't even bother. So I'm just going to leave him in parry, so if he gets attacked, he can parry an attack coming in. Most likely nothing's going to happen this turn. I'm just being kind of overly cautious. Leopold here also has an increased charge range, so I'm going to move him up to, increased ambush range. I think it's also charge. So I'm going to put him in an ambush on this side. So I'm just kind of going through my thought process as I'm playing. Not too much really is going on this early in the game. And I may very well be doing weird or bad things, I'm not sure. Typically I'm doing okay, but I've just been playing against the AI. Kind of starting off with my leader with the crossbow just to add some extra range, especially since when I was leveling up before I would often keep him in the back. He's fairly decent in melee combat now, so I'll switch him over pretty quickly. Pretty much as soon as I get one shot off with this, I won't even bother reloading, I'll just switch over. And Alric has increased ambush range as well, and some increased skills for ambushing. And he also has a special skill, which I didn't discover until later, Onslaught. So this will let him do an ambush and then one parry after he ambushes. So you can kind of see the range. It's not really useful at this point, just because we haven't spotted any enemies. So I'll move him all the way up, put him in ambush.
A new round has started.
And that was quick. I'm kind of surprised I haven't seen anybody yet. If you do see them, it'll actually show you on the overhead map where they were, or even if you lose them, where you last saw them. So I know his cart is here, so he should be based around here. He might have gone down here to gather wordstone instead of coming up towards me, though. So what I'm probably going to do is we're going to grab this wordstone and then we'll kind of head around to here in a group. If we make it that far, usually I don't, before running into problems. Still nothing, surprisingly. I don't want to run him out too far. He's got a lot of movement. I want to have him, covered a little bit with some of my melee guys. So this is about as far as I really want to comfortably push him. They could be down that way. So we'll just hang out here for now. Sort of creep forward and grab that wardstone on the way. I'm actually just going to keep him up here, a little bit of a view that way. My ogre can't pick up wardstone. He can't really carry a lot of potions or any other special items either. So mostly he's just here to fight and kill people. So you can see it sort of highlights the wordstone as well, so even through my body I can see it. There's an example of a trap, the board there. A lot of things that you see could be traps. You don't know unless you step on them. This sort of weird mutated flesh-looking thing, like right there on the ground, could be a trap, but it's not because I'm within range where it should be highlighted if it is. So just going to creep him forward here. That is a trap, though. If I set up an ambush in a position where I might run over a trap, it'll stop your ambush. Well, we've got somebody over there. That's one of the people who are marked for death as well. So they might have split up and had some people here and then some people go down that way. Don't really like that there's kind of a trap in the way. So I'm going to angle myself out this way and go and ambush there. Now there's somebody over there too, which is a little bit dangerous. If my ogre ends up in combat, he won't leave combat. I can't make him leave combat. So if he gets swarmed by himself far away from everybody else, it is a bit of a problem. So I might need to pull back a bit here. We'll draw them towards me. If I get a chance, I might end up having to run forward to help my ogre if they all swarm him. And Clara ran away. So everyone, depending on their strength, can carry a certain number of items. Most of my guys are carrying at least one item to help them out in combat. So I've had a certain number of spaces, and you have to use those spaces for anything you want to pick up. So he's just going to grab all of these clusters. So when you pick up wordstone, there's a chance something good or bad will happen to you. So in that case, for 2 turns, I've got minus 10% range resistance. So each time I pick one up, I have to make kind of a check. So that time, nothing. I can't pick up the other one without moving. Okay. How about now? Sometimes it's a little fiddly about exactly where you have to be to pick something up. Another negative effect. So for 2 turns, minus 10% melee and range resistance. It just means I'm more likely to get hit. It doesn't affect damage or anything like that. So I know that's a trap. So I'm just going to move up here and set up Gustav in an ambush to protect my archer. Okay. a little far back, so we'll just run up here as much as we can. I guess. Oh, coming my way. Overwatch shot. Another one. Decent damage. Very nice. Oh, getting charged from that far away. That's a nice hit. And so because I have attack left, I can counterattack anytime she comes, throws an attack my way. So often I can just kill people with my ambush and counterattacks with my ogre here. Very close to death. I can't counterattack magic though, just melee attacks. So that was, whenever you cast a spell, there's a chance something weird or bad happens. So that was something. I'll have to actually check and see what that was. It said truce, but I'm not sure what that is. Sometimes it'll do damage to the magic user. Sometimes it'll make it so the magic user can't cast spells for a while. It can do all kinds of weird, crazy stuff. Since we're engaged that direction with my ogre, I'm going to move Eberhard to this side. Because he's going to be my next toughest fighter. Ambush probably isn't going to do me any good, but hopefully no one's going to come from that direction quite yet. And I'll move Leopold up as well. And so he's can't move that far. All the way in the back, my leader here. If someone's in melee combat, it decreases your chance to hit. So you can see here I've got a 42% chance. At least there's no chance you're going to hit your own guy, which is nice, which was something that when I used to play 40k or had the old fantasy rules when I was playing, there was a chance if you shot into combat, you're going to hit your own guy. Take a shot, why not? But I don't even have enough points left to reload. And I don't know, I still have some distance here, so I may just kind of hang out at this point. I could go ahead and switch to my melee weapons, but I'll just hold on, I guess. I can't parry without a shield or a sword equipped, so I have a 5% dodge chance, which is kind of useless, but yeah, whatever. And shift Alric to this side as well.
A new round has started.
So we'll see if a bunch of them just kind of converge on my ogre here. Or they might split up and some of them come towards us and some of them go towards the ogre. Depends on where exactly they're at, how far away. So here with my skill, I've got a free reload. So even without aiming, I already have a 68% chance here because of the ballistic skill that I have. I'll go ahead and take the chance, and she's down. And I can reload again for free. Now I can move and shoot and do all kinds of stuff still. I kind of peek over this direction. I've got somebody right there. That's the leader. Check the map just to see anybody else. So it kind of crossed out there. It's hard to see if she's down. Somebody back inside, and then the leader there. So I'm just going to take a few pot shots here and then sort of run back. Anything I can do to sort of whittle her down before she gets into combat. And actually, I think I'll just move back now, and then I can go into Overwatch. Get a free shot on somebody anyway. Herald also gets a free reload. The bows just take 1 to reload. Crossbows take 3. So it depends on the weapons that you have. So I can actually see their leader from here, but I can't take a shot. So Overwatch it is. My ogre also can't pick up gear from people who are down. You only get a chance to pick up gear from someone specifically when the turn you drop them, unless it's their identifying item or wordstone. Anything else, you just have the 1 turn to grab, and then that's it. So I've taken enough damage, I'm actually going to go ahead and switch over. So with this setup, with the sword, I can actually parry, and I can actually parry 3 times, have a pretty good chance of parrying. I do less damage this way, though. Just check. Yeah, the axe gives me increased ambush range, so you can see my ambush range is a bit shorter now. So I want to sort of cut off their leader here if I can. A little closer. Yeah, now she won't be able to get out of here without me ambushing her. She could run away to go back towards some additional support. We'll see what happens. So you can see they're picking up a lot of wordstone. It's kind of updating under the resources as their actions are going by. If they have wordstone on them, when I take them out, I can always take it from them. I can run it back to my cart and drop it off so that I can then pick up more stuff. But since their cart is over here, kind of behind my ogre, fairly undefended, I can also check it for any gold or equipment or items and things. Well, she's going to trigger my ambush instead of the leader. If she moves, yep. So my ogre does cause fear, so that was her passing a fear check. If they fail, it just means they're a lot less likely to be able to hit, and I think sometimes it reduces the amount of action points and things they have. So again, with my ambush and with counterattacks, I usually am doing a lot of damage. I'm taking some damage, but I'm doing a lot. So I'm going to move Gustav over as well. This green sort of is the border of the map. You can kind of see the weird ghosts. So we'll set up an ambush so that hopefully we can get the leader in an ambush before she gets to my ogre. That's the goal anyway. Casting some spells. Must have more people behind her there. Failing some spells. Only casting spells, not doing anything else. Oh, there we go. Supposed to use all our attack points casting spells there. I kind of want to go grab stuff from the body. Otmar's wearing lighter armor so we can move a little further. So check and see if we can get... Yeah. What do you got? I can't actually use the Sigmarite hammers, but I can sell them for okay amount of money at this point if they're purple items. So I'll take it. I'm a little torn if I want to have Eberhard head towards their cart or explore over towards this direction where I saw the other warrior, who I also need to get for my secondary objective. I do have a couple of guys here that are a little slower, so yeah, I'll send Eberhard, since I have a bit more movement with him, up this direction. Check things out anyway. And these two can kind of stay on this side. In there, even though I was in ambush, he charged me from further away than in my ambush range, so I just end up getting charged. So increasing your ambush range is definitely very useful. Go ahead and reload so we can get up somewhere where I can see somebody. You can see the white circle around my guy. If I'm in that circle of another one of my characters, I can't actually give them any orders. You can see no actions available. Okay, thought I saw a different percentage. It's, yeah, 9% or 24%. So 24% there is all I have. Move a little further. A whole 39%. How exciting. I guess. Wasn't expecting it to hit. Yeah, not much else I can do, so we'll just move up a little bit. Go ahead and switch over next turn to my melee weapons. And move Alric here up a bit.
A new round has started.
You can see there's still quite a few of the enemy that I have never even seen, probably behind me, or behind their leader here from this view. Spotted somebody for a second there. They appeared and then a question mark. So I do have some different kinds of attacks I can use here. I've got a Jaw Strike, which reduces the ability of magic users to effectively cast spells. Strong Blow just uses more action points to do a little bit more damage and decreases the chance of parry. But my basic attack is just fine. Ogre is just a living engine of destruction. So there's a fear check, leader past it. Just wail on her a bit. When you select the attack, you can see all the breakdowns of everything. So Web of Steel will let this character, since it's leveled up, parry up to 3 attacks. Got 50% chances. I can aim and increase it by 20%, but that uses more action points. The blue points as well as the red. I'll just take the chances and just fire a whole bunch of times instead. Just to kind of help out my guy in combat. I can only do one more shot, so this time I might as well go with aimed. So you can see all the percentages and Y for everything there. And I'm even set for next turn. Got a shot on somebody. Oh, he's got 82%. Being higher increases your chance to hit. He's also got some skills and things that affect that. %, misses. I've missed a lot of 95% in this game too, so that's kind of the maximum. You can see 82 went up to 95 aimed. 95 is like the maximum percentage. There's always at least a 5% chance of anything failing or missing. And with the extra points, just to be safe, be able to dodge if I get attacked in hand-to-hand combat. Hopefully shouldn't happen, but you never know. There's a parry. And I can counterattack. Normal counterattack would take 2 of the red points. If you successfully parry, then it reduces it by 1. So just 1 point, I can still parry. And also counterattack after the parry. Somebody's over there. And coming this way. So I'm going to check, do I have any special? I've got Vital Strike, which increases my crit chance by 10%. That's all I've got. So yeah, in this case, I can do a regular attack and then go into Web of Steel, which will let me parry, and will still leave me 1 red point to do a counterattack. So if I successfully parry, I can do a successful counterattack. Or I can do a Vital Strike and use all of them just to have an increased 10% crit chance. I think I'll hold on to the chance of getting another attack off if I parry. With him I can only parry twice because I can't level up the skill higher on basic level characters. And there, since I didn't parry, I couldn't counterattack. I like how the arrows sometimes will stick right out of someone's head or eye or something like that. They'll leave them in. So sometimes when you shoot somebody a lot, it's really funny to see them running around. So you can see 3 arrows stuck in her. It can be a bit humorous sometimes. Yeah, because of her armor, not doing a lot of damage there. I think I've got the movement to check their chest on their cart for any items, and then also come back and help. See what they've got. Yeah. Blue item not so useful, and I also can't use crossbow pistols, but I can sell it. So I can do a charge attack from here. I don't have any blue points left for the movement to be able to set myself up with a parry chance or anything, though. So we're just going to wail on her. He does have a skill, though, that each time he hits someone, it increases his melee resistance by 3%, and it stacks. So every time I hit someone successfully, it makes it 3% less likely they're going to hit him. So even though I can't parry or anything, I will be a little harder to hit. I never got a crit. So if he crits somebody, it'll do increased damage. He's actually got his mace increases the crit damage he does. He also has a pretty high crit chance. Every attack, I think 20%. Usually you have to make then a stun check at that point. If you fail, you're stunned, and then you can get really wailed on and taken out, kind of like my leader did. In that case, she passed the stun check. So she got hit with a crit, but she's fine. Stayed on her feet. So here I'm just going to position myself for an ambush if she gets closer. Hopefully I can ambush her before she gets within her charge range. Kind of depends on her skills and equipment and stuff, though. Yeah, she's fighting two people at the same time, so she had to make a leadership check, and she failed it. So I'm going to get a couple free attacks, and she's going to run away. If you have somebody really surrounded and they can't run away, then nothing really happens. They just don't do anything. And she's right next to my leader. So you can finish her off. And the way it works for experience is you get a certain amount of points for taking part in a mission. You get 1 point for every person you take out, even if you only did the last tiny bit of damage like that. So that's extra experience points for him. So you can kind of work around people you're trying to level up, trying to get the killing blows in with them, especially once you have things relatively under control in a mission. Got a Hammer of Slaying, extra damage. We'll take that. Sigmarite hammers I can't use, but I can sell. So yeah, we'll take it. Purple items, the two-handed items I can usually get about 100 gold or so for. It sort of depends. Still somebody else down this way. I've got this area pretty well covered. So I'm actually going to move my leader back this way. Just set him up in a parry stance instead of an ambush because his range isn't that great for ambushing. Leopold and Alric here are my main ambushers. So we'll set him up as well with an ambush.
A new round has started.
I don't know what that was. Angry hissing sound. Oh, I spotted their equivalent of my ogre somewhere. This is sort of their equivalent of the ogre. It's a very powerful Maiden of Sigmar. In this game, they're called impressives. So for the mercenaries, it's an ogre. For the undead, it's kind of a big, I don't know, flesh golem kind of thing. Chaos has a giant mutant. The Sisters of Sigmar have the Maiden of Sigmar, who has kind of a natural ability that makes it incredibly hard to hit her with ranged weapons. So you pretty much have to fight her close up, and she's got a ton of toughness and attacks and things like that. So she can be a little difficult to deal with. My ogre usually can take her, though. So who do we want to kill? We'll focus on the character who's weaker, or has lower health anyway. Always better to take somebody out than to just hurt them, because even if you're hurt, you can still do maximum damage back when it's your turn to attack. So she's got high agility, so it makes it a little harder to hit, seeing 89%. So I have an ability here called Insult. So that makes reduces someone's melee resistance. I guess it makes them fight stupid or something, I guess, because you insulted them. So now I've got a 95% chance to hit, and anyone else will have a 95% chance to hit her as well for a turn. Got the skill, why not use it? More coming through. Okay, so she's also one of the people targeted for death. So I've only seen 2 of them so far. I haven't even seen the 3rd one. That's often what happens. If there's 2, you only ever spot 1. If there's 3, you only ever spot 2. Let's see if we can get shots from here. 44% aren't great. Should be higher if I move further over, because she's not in combat. The one on the right, anyway. Yeah, 74%. Yeah, we'll take some 74s. Oh, there's a crit and a stun. So yeah, down on the ground. So now it should be easier to hit. I don't think it increases anything else. So yeah, it went from 74 to 94%. So easier to hit. I don't think it's easier to crit them or anything. I think it's just easier to hit. There's another crit. I'm not 100% sure, though. Well, I'm definitely not sure. So you can see if you get crits and stuns, you can really just hammer somebody in one turn with one person. A couple hundred health down in pretty much no time. Not doing me much good here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump down. If you fail that roll, you just take some damage from the fall. See if I can get shots here. Yeah, 90%. Soften her up a bit. Also kind of encourage her to either run away or engage me in close combat. And if she stays there, I can keep shooting at her. Failed fear test, so I won't be able to do much this turn probably. Well, moving forward. Arrow right between the eyes. They're missing a lot, partially because my guys, at least those guys, that character and Gustav here, level 10, so they have maxed out weapon skill, and that does affect the chance that your enemy will miss when they attack you. The difference between the 2 characters' weapon skills when you kind of figure out the statistics. I think Gustav's inventory's full. Yeah, I do need to take this, but I don't have to take it now. If I want this, I have to take it now, though. But, it's fine. We'll get in and get some damage in. Jeez, another crit. Since she's down, just do as much damage as possible. 2 points of health left, but can't quite take her out. There's not a lot of room there for me to get someone else in combat either. So I do have some space. Check this other... I don't think I checked that. I can't get close enough because of my ogre's radius to actually check that bag from the other person that went down. That's kind of their stuff. So we'll backtrack. Maybe just peek around this way a little bit. Trying to sort of protect him because he's a bit weaker than everybody else. If I can get killing blows in with him, I will, though, just because that'll help him level up. Same reason we'll bring my leader over here. Another one down. That's another experience point for him. I'm actually going to move away just to make it easier to check her inventory. Don't want to go that far. And we have enough to at least have a parry stance set up. So I know their impressive is inside the building, or was inside the building here, so I'm going to kind of try to guard this area with him. Just move him up and put him in Web of Steel. And she's got nothing of use, but I do need this for the secondary objective.
Completed. Objectives updated.
And I do see some more woodstone out this way. And I do have inventory space. So we'll kind of creep up a little bit to check things out. And I'm actually just going to go on parry here. And we'll move Alric up and put him in an ambush state. Stance. Thingy. You know what I mean.
A new round has started.
I think that was the wrong animation playing for an effect, I think. It's kind of weird. So we can go ahead and insult her again. So for incoming attacks, you can either dodge or parry. So dodging is kind of based on your weapon skill. It can be countered by increased strength. And then dodging is based on your agility, but can be countered by increased accuracy. So it sort of depends on the matchups you have. And there are maybe just one. There's definitely one weapon that you can't parry. And there are some skills and things that can affect those stats as well. So you kind of see she successfully dodged that first attack, but just doing so many attacks and so much damage, it just doesn't matter. kind of blocking access here to some other people, so I might move my ogre away from this corner just so other people can come up and check the bodies, because the ogre can't actually do that. Just gonna hang out here. Yeah, she can still do full damage even though she's only got a couple points of health left. But if I parry, I can counterattack and should be able to take her out. Here she comes. That's one parry down, 2 more to go. And every time I hit her, it is making it harder for her to hit me. No, she's going to throw some magic around. That was pretty hard. It's a failed parry. Yeah, she's pretty dangerous. Kurt got hit by a comet. I've got a very small chance here. See if I move up a little bit more. 29. So you see the 1% is for the Maiden of Sigbar. It's kind of their passive special ability. It makes them very hard to hit. Even if I aim, you can see it's still 1%. Doesn't affect it at all. Let's see if we can take her out. There we go. And we'll go in Overwatch in case anybody else pops up. And he can also see her, but that's it. Kind of the 1%, it's pretty much not going to happen. Just take a look down this way. Gustav surrounded by bodies. But he can't carry anything, so I need somebody else to come over here and pick up some stuff. Yeah, all full. I think I'll just creep him forward and put him in Web of Steel, so people can't really get to him any other way than from the front. Can't get ganged up on. I'll have him head over and try to pick up some stuff. Don't need that. I need Saskia and Ida Dreschner. Okay, actually I do need that. That's Ida Dreschner.
Objective completed. Objectives updated.
Then I'll move out of the way so somebody else can get in there. Got no space here either. He's carrying kind of additional utility items I can use on different people. You can use the potions and things on yourself or on anyone who's like right next to you. So I do have some things that counteract poison and magic and stuff like that on him, as well as healing potion. But for now, just peeking around the corner. So that's her passing her dodge skill. You can kind of see all the things that affect. So on the right, anything that affects damage amount. On the left, attack percentages. I don't really need to insult her because I'm at 94%, so even if I insulted her, it will only increase it by 1%. Leopold's got room, so I guess we'll head up for some wordstone. Not seeing anybody. Sometimes it's hard to see in person when you're there. Checking the map will sometimes be a little easier to spot where they're at. It's just a couple shards here. I'll take it. That's all I can get. Set up an ambush in case somebody pops out of one of these buildings and comes towards us.
A new round has started.
Oh, that's it. Okay. I'm kind of surprised. So left stuff that I got. Battleground victory is sort of anything I found after the battle was over, so not much. 2 little tiny individual pieces of wardstone, 3 items. What I found during the mission, 1 shard and 3 clusters. On the right, you show casualties, none for me, 7 for them. Who got did the most damage on both sides?
A warrior needs a bit of luck and a lot of skill to win a battle. But most of all, he needs strategy. You have managed to find the winning mixture. Now just be careful not to lose it.
Task completed.
Yes, sir. So kind of skipping over my level 10 guys there, which is why it does that weird thing. So you got 2 for the mission, which actually gave him a level up. This is your overall level, so not actually a level up, but at different steps within this point, you'll get increases to either martial, so I can spend 1 point on any one of these, or mental, or physical. And at certain points, you also get skill points. So he just got the increase to his martial abilities, so I'll be able to spend that afterwards. So my leader got a total of 4. He'll also get a martial advancement. And that's it. Everyone else is level 10 in the mission. So what did we find? So this is combining the stuff that I grabbed and stuff that I got afterwards. So I completed something for clusters. There's kind of a veteran system where you get points for completing certain objectives, which you can then use for advances that go across all of your different warbands. So if you had a Skaven warband you played with sometimes, a Mercenary warband you played sometimes, it should apply to both, I think is how it works. So I do have some advancements. So I have an extra day to fulfill wordstone requests. Leaders and impressive warriors cost less after a mission. Healing costs less. Skills cost less. And hiring new people costs less. So mostly gold related, because gold is kind of the main issue in the game for me anyway. So what I'm going to do is sell off that stuff that I can't use, if I can find it, which will give me some extra money. You can see 100 for the Sigmarite Great Hammer here, Don't want to miss any. So Sigmarite one, 92. And see, I have tons of stuff, partially because if a guy goes down in combat, your opponents can take stuff away from them, or if you lose a battle, there's a chance they're going to lose some or all of their stuff. So I've definitely been kind of stockpiling in case that happens, because it can be really difficult to recover from if you don't have good equipment afterwards. And with lower level guys, if I'm leveling them up, I'll usually give them kind of blue level stuff, because if I lose it, it's not that big of a deal. I know there's more stuff. Crossbow pistols, yeah, just 28. That's probably it. We can sell these, I don't really need. Well, I'll hold on to it. I actually don't have that many blue or purple helmets, so some of my guys are even still using the basic helmets. And then, so I got 52 wordstone in weight for that mission. Yeah, I could get rid of all of it if I want to. Wouldn't be that big of an issue. Maybe I'll just send off 50 of it for now. I'm working on leveling up, and see Reputation 3 and 3, and Brigensburg is 2. So if I get to 3, that reduces some of my skills costs and gives me some extra enchantments and things. So the more stuff I send them, the happier they are with me. So I might as well do that. So we'll send off 50, so I'm getting 500 gold for that. It takes a little while for that shipment to get there and for me to get the money. And then after the mission, you have to pay gold for each of your guys that did the mission. So you can kind of see the individual costs if you want, or you can pay it all at the same time through here. Those medical costs, you have to pay that too, which will be first. Then you'll pay for kind of the mission costs. So even with the reductions that I have, my ogre is still costing me 22 gold per mission if I use him. Leader is at 8, so it can add up quite a bit. Often it's around 100 here lately for me. So here you can just pay it all if you want at the same time. So you can only do one mission per day. So I've already done the mission per day that I can. This would be to go to the next day. The other thing that I can do is go ahead and train skills. So some skills only take a day to learn, and you can actually do a mission, then train a skill, and then you'll have it ready by the next day. So if something's just a 1 day, you can do that. If it's 2 days, do the mission, go ahead and train, and then by the next day, just 1 day left. So I definitely want to have Uthelm here train something. He's got 8 unspent skill points. He's kind of a hero level character, so he can go up to level 2. So I can increase his dodge to 3 dodges. I can increase his dodge chance to 20%. I don't think, I don't have enough toughness to level this up to level 2. I don't have enough alertness to level this up to level 2. I could add a new skill, passive or active here. So you can see all percentages and things. So his dodge percentage is already 100%. So I think we want to go ahead and level up his sidestep so he can dodge 3 times. So leveling that up 5 days at 450 gold. So yeah, even though I have a decent amount of money, training one person in a higher level skill takes most of it. So we'll start working on that. Now I really don't want to spend any more money. That's kind of it for the day for everything that I got. Yeah, I don't really have much. I can also hire people who are higher level to start with, which is under the higher swords, which is reduced because of the skills I have, but still really expensive, even for like level 5s, over 1,000 gold. So especially for kind of the hero characters, which are on the left side here, so any leaders or champions or young bloods, ogres, that kind of stuff, really, really expensive to get someone replaced if somebody dies. But that's probably about all I'm going to do for training. So we might as well advance the day, I guess. So I usually don't even show this part when I'm doing these. So 4 people training, nobody completed their training, new hired swords are available, kind of changes every certain amount of days. 10 more days left to send off that shipment. So now I can do another mission the next day. Let's see, now it's one day left on those 3 characters. So we kind of have to take out pretty much the same people. I could swap out my rifleman instead of somebody else if I wanted to, but we'll probably take the same group the next time I do a mission. Nothing else really crazy. Let's check out the hired swords. So level 5 ogre, level 5 youngblood. I can only field 2 champions and 2 youngbloods in a mission, so I have 2 champions and 2 youngbloods. I wouldn't mind training up another wizard. They're not super useful, actually, but if I can get one high enough level, it might be better. I'd actually like my guy to get even higher level, he's up to level 7, but he's getting beaten up a lot in the missions that I've done, just because he's kind of weaker than everybody else, and the enemy will tend to target him. But yeah, that's been kind of an update of where things are at with my group. I still don't have the next story mission, so I've done through the first mission of Act 2. I think there's 4 acts. So if there's 4 missions per act, that means there's 11 more story missions for me to do. The story missions take a really long time, though, like 3 to 4 hours to get through, because there's often like weird puzzles and stuff in them. They just involve getting to certain places from certain other places, and there's only one way to do it. And you end up having this big conga line of people, and it takes forever to get around, even after you killed everybody. So I haven't streamed or recorded any of those just because they're kind of excruciating even to play sometimes. But there is kind of some interesting story elements that go into it, and I get some special bonuses for doing them. And kind of figuring what I'll probably do is just plan on finishing out those, and then I'll probably just be done with the game. I kind of really wanted to do something with Skaven, but I've spent so much time just leveling up guys for the Mercenaries that I don't think I'm going to touch the game for a while after I finish stuff. But that's going to be about it for today's stream. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you're interested, you can always check out older streams that I have on my YouTube channel. Previous streams from this Warband are also up there. Other streams for other games. I'm often kind of doing various different things, kind of trying stuff out, and just kind of messing around and seeing if people enjoy watching. So if you enjoyed it, hopefully you can check out some other stuff, and maybe I'll see you next time. But thank you very much for hanging out. I do appreciate it, and hopefully I will see you next time. Thanks.